And here we are once again. It's Tuesday morning, or sometimes Tuesday afternoon, depending on where you are, whether you're here in the USA or overseas. We are here for another edition of the ETBU Sportsnet Coaches Show, presented by our friends at Marshall Hometown Tire. This is Kenneth the K-Rock Klein, but do we really need to get there? Anyways, it's time to talk with our head men's basketball coach, Brandon Curran, who is coming off, well, temporarily, the final road trip of the season. There will be one later. We'll get into that in just a moment. But Coach Curran, obviously last week we talked about the fact that you were kind of being dealt with some adversity, having lost 2 straight games. You came away with a split this week, and so obviously 3 of the last 4 kind of still need to figure out, how to deal with the adversity. But from an overall perspective on the 2 games at least, what stood out to you the most from those 2 games?
Well, first of all, I thought going into Ozarks, our guys did a tremendous job of bouncing back from disappointment the week before. There were some things that we wanted to address to get better offensively and defensively, and I thought we did both of those things. I thought the guys played really well. I thought they shared the ball. I thought they moved it. I thought they handled the adjustments that we wanted to make really well. And then going on the road to UT Dallas is just hard. It's a difficult game. They're a good team. They obviously wanted that game really bad. We wanted that game really bad. We made too many mistakes to come out on the side that we wanted to, but you live and learn. And, we talked a lot the last 2 weeks just about we are on a journey. And there's disappointments that go on that journey, and there's successes and victories that go on that journey. And those victories don't define us, and those losses don't defeat us. We just use those things to grow. And so that's what we've been doing, and that's what we'll continue to do, and looking forward to going into 2 good games this week.
Absolutely. And it's funny because you brought up the fact that UT Dallas is a tough place to play. I think, if I were to rank places that are very tough, especially in the ASC, UT Dallas, I would say, would have to be like maybe number 1, maybe Laterno a close second or so. But obviously, when you're playing in that gym, what is it about that specific gym that brings the challenge, aside from the fans' perspective?
It's not the gym and it's not the fans. It's the fact that they just have a really good program and good players. We have a really good program and good players too, and I think it's really hard to come here and play. But it's just hard. It's hard to go on the road anywhere and win. And they've had a lot of success, and it's just difficult. It's a challenge when you go in. You've got to play your very best. But that's really how it is every night in the ASC. I mean, every single night you've got to limit your mistakes. You've got to play your very best and give yourself a chance. And, fortunately, we've been able to do that a lot this year.
Absolutely, and hopefully you continue to do that. So, a couple players that I really want to talk about. What's funny, Coach? Last weekend, I wasn't with y'all. I was with the hockey team. I had a good, nice little dinner at some Canadian restaurant. The hockey players were really nice to treat me. But speaking of Canadian, your one Canadian player, Colton Collins, really stepped up big this past weekend. And obviously, we've seen him come off the bench and have himself some tremendous games. And this being his one and only year with the program, how has he managed to kind of been able to transition to be a big asset for the team, especially when some of your starters might need a breather?
Yeah, well, he's a really, really gifted player and a talented scorer. And he's got good size and strength for a guard, and so he's been a huge advantage to us and a major benefit and a huge weapon. And generally when guys sit out for a semester or 2 semesters, it kind of takes them a while to get back into the flow. And so coming into the spring semester, we expected him to have some big games, and he's done that for us and played well again this weekend, and we expect him to continue to do that through the rest of the stretch.
Absolutely. And another player that has really stepped up big for ETB the last couple of weeks, Ahmad Caldwell. I mean, he's kind of when he started the season, he was kind of going through some growing pains, I call him that. But obviously, the last couple of games, he's really stepped up big, especially whenever Chris Haynes needs a breather. Has Ahmad kind of earned his way to a point where you can trust him in a situation when Haynes needs to, take a breather? I know you trust a lot of your guys on the bench, but what is it about Ahmad?
Ahmad's done a great job. He's been really consistent in his work ethic and practice. He's continued to improve offensively throughout the year. He's playing with a lot of poise right now when he has the ball. He's not getting in a rush. He's making good decisions. He's able to finish around the basket. The thing that he really does for us is he just brings energy all the time. And you kind of notice when he checks into the game, he just kind of brings a spark. Defensively, rebounding, he plays really hard and with a good motor. And It's been nice to watch him grow, and his attitude has stayed consistent. Whether he's getting a lot of minutes, kind of like he was early in the year, or as those minutes kind of scaled back, and now he's been given more opportunities, he's just been consistent. He's a really mature player. Came from a junior college at Richland College in Dallas, played for a national championship there, played in a national tournament. So he's just got a lot of maturity and a lot of wisdom that he's able to share with our team in terms of handling good things, handling wins, the consistency that you have to bring every day, the focus that you have to bring every day. He's just been a valuable leader for us, and we appreciate him very much.
Splendid answer there, Coach, and obviously, everyone takes his words to heart as well. So this weekend, last 4 games are at home, and this week you're actually taking on ASC West competition, which is kind of surprising because you usually take on the ASC West in December, early January or so what, but Mary Hardin Baylor and Concordia, they've kind of been surprising in that we know they're a very talented team, but this past season they kind of haven't quite gotten it together, to say the least. And as it stands right now, we now know that the conference tournament will be hosted by Sul Ross State University. So, but that does not necessarily mean that you can't overlook Mary Hardin Baylor and Concordia, because at any point they can get on a run, and when that happens, it's going to be a challenge to stop them, to say the least. So mindset, of course, entering the fact that you worry about yourself, but also Mary Hardin Baylor just continuing to provide some pressure. Same thing with Concordia. I feel like those two teams don't necessarily get a lot of credit or recognition, given what's been going on with them this season.
Well, both of them are extremely talented teams, and we're definitely focused on them. I think it'll probably be a pretty good preview for the ASC tournament. There's a good chance that we'll be playing one of those two teams, if not both, at some point in the conference tournament. But yeah, extremely talented, extremely athletic. Both present a ton of challenges. I've got a ton of respect for both the programs and their coaches. I know that they're going to come in here and be prepared, and so we've started watching film and getting ready for them, and we'll focus on them yesterday, today, and tomorrow in practice, and get ready to play on Thursday.
And absolutely, Coach, and cannot wait for Thursday and Saturday as you have Mary Hardin Baylor and Concordia, 2 really great games as you wind down the season. All right, folks, that concludes another round with head coach Brandon Curran. We'll have more with him next time on the ETU Sportsnet Coaches Show.